All right, we're live. All right, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. We got a couple people in here already. We've got Lauren and Rabbit Homesteading. No, you're not late. It's just I'm right on time. You were just a little early. And Paul is here. Good evening to you, Paul. Good to see you guys. While we're waiting for everybody else to get joined in here, let me just kind of run through the disclaimers I normally run through. This is a weekly live broadcast. I do this pretty much every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. Sometimes I can't do it, life gets in the way or, whatever. But most of the time I'm here, 7 o'clock Central time. What else? What else? Oh, I don't have a topic planned out. This is just a chance to interact. Guys can ask me anything you want to ask me, but I do ask keep it family friendly. Don't start cussing at people. Don't start being rude. Don't any of that kind of stuff. We will boot you out if we have to. Hopefully, we don't have to do that. Anyway, let's get into it. We got a couple of other people here. King Coop Aid is here. Hello, good to see you too. And Waylon Brown is here. Good evening to you. Who we got here? SX Homestead from London. It's got to be late there, early there, I guess it is. Rabbit Homestead, yeah, your time's off a little bit. Well, maybe, who knows. I'm showing, well, we're like right at a minute past right now, so I was pretty much right on time tonight, I think. Anyway, we got a question here from Paul. Paul's saying, what's the earliest age you have been able to sex a kit? Oh boy, that's a good question. Let's see. Probably somewhere around 3 weeks old. That's usually about the time that it's a little bit easier to tell. Much younger than that, it's difficult to tell. Maybe at 2 weeks, but I think 3 weeks is probably more along that line. So hopefully that helps and that answers that question for you. I've got a video on how to sex rabbits. I did good grief, a long time ago, probably a couple of years ago. And I showed how to do that. If you need the video link, let me know. I'll try to look that up and get that for you. All right, where are we at here? William Chapman from Alabama says just hatched a 100% hatch rate on a small hatch. Congratulations, well done. 100% is a big hatch or a small hatch. Either way, that's something to be proud of for sure. Good job. Hannah, hello to you, Hannah. Waylon says, you remember me. Probably. I talked to so many people, Waylon, I'm sorry. I don't remember specifically if we talked about something else before or not, but it's hard to say for sure. Brad Smith is here. Hello to you. Jamie says, hola. Hola to you. And Tyler says, good evening. Hatch Poultry Farms is here. Remember, guys, we got the drawing coming up next Thursday night on the live broadcast. We'll do the drawing for the 100 free eggs. So if you guys haven't given in on that, go back, watch the video. Make sure you make the appropriate comment, and we'll make sure you get in on that drawing. LLJ, good evening to you. And Kinfolk Farms of Georgia, good to see you too. Kendra, good to see you. Rabbit Homesteading says, I have 801. When you're on time. Wait, when you side you're on time, don't matter. Just curious. Okay, when you side you're on. So, I don't know. You had 8:01, and, well, I'm showing like 3 minutes after 7 now. There is a little bit of a slight delay between whenever I say something here and it actually, airs on the video itself. So maybe that's the difference. I don't know. All right. Lou Martinez says, I'm excited about the solar lights. Hey, that brings up a good point here. Let me leave a link for you guys. Solar Light Kickstarter is going live next Friday. So I'll leave a link down below here. If you guys are interested in the solar light, again, it's a solar light on a programmable timer. There's a link there you can click on. It'll take you to the Kickstarter page where you can click follow, and then you'll be notified as soon as it goes live. That way, there's going to be a couple of early bird specials. You can get in on it early a little bit. All right, we'll see. Hopefully that gets funded and we are able to get that out to everybody. But that's not the topic of tonight's discussion. So let's move on here. Jamie says, my quail lay eggs in the afternoon. Is that normal? Perfectly normal. Mine, almost all my birds lay afternoon, evening. Very seldom do I get them laying early in the morning. It seems like most of them, late in the evening is when most of them lay. So yeah, it's pretty normal. All right, Lauren. Where are you at here? So I tried to get a doe in with a buck to breed, but the buck did not do it right. LOL. They are both in perfect health and both are proven. The doe was fine, just let the buck do his thing. He mounts her but did not fall off. I saw blood. He cut his foot. He is he is known for sore hocks. So I'm thinking he's hurting from that. Is there anything else it could be why he's not doing it right? Okay, that's probably actually the doe, not the buck. It sounds like he's mounting. He didn't fall off, probably because the doe didn't lift for him. Now, sometimes those does will sit there. The bucks will mount, but if the doe doesn't lift, she lift her tail up basically, then the buck's not going to be able to do his thing, the proper way. So that's probably what the issue is. Now, the sore hocks, that's a different thing altogether. He may have injured himself a little bit because he got a little bit overexcited or whatever, but that's a different thing altogether. It sounds like she's just not lifting for him. Very, very common problem. Just keep trying. Assuming the buck's okay and he's not hurt too bad or anything, just keep trying. What I would do is try morning, try night, try morning, try night. Usually 4 or 5 times, and she'll be receptive to him, and she'll allow him to mount, and you'll get the successful fall offs. But that's probably what the issue is. All right, King Coupe, let me grab a drink here. Says, where's a good place to get Flemish Giants in New Zealand? Who knows, man? It depends on what's available in your area, where to get them. I find most of my rabbits on Craigslist or at the local poultry swap. You might be able to look up like rabbit breeders in your area, the American Rabbit Breeding Association. That might be a place where you can find them. Sometimes you can find links to rabbitries in your area through them. You can also go to, let's see, if you've got any kind of county fairs, 4-H clubs in your area, that might be a good place to look to. Those are all places, but it just depends on where you're at. It's tough to find. It can be tough, I should say, to find them. It's not like rabbit breeders advertise really, really well all the time. So that would be the places I would look. All right. Kinfolk Farms of Georgia says 100% wow. I'm not sure what that means exactly. I missed it. All right. Robert Slut says, hello, Chris. Hello to you. Jennifer Hart says, is it possible for a rabbit that I thought had vent disease to heal up all on her own as if no sores were ever there? Could it have been from cold wire cage bottoms or from hutch burn? Well, it could have been. It's possible. My guess is it probably wasn't vent disease if it just healed up all on its own. It was probably just something else that caused it. Definitely could have been if, when you say hutch burn, that would imply that you probably had like a solid bottom floor and she's urinating on the floor and then sitting in her own urine and things like that. That would cause, that could cause sores. It could cause all kinds of problems like that. So yeah, it's definitely possible that all this stuff just healed up on its own without you doing anything to it. It's hard to say for sure. Don't know that I have a better answer for you on that one, unfortunately. All right, what is that? Popple Backyard Farm, hello to you. And Waylon says, filing rabbit toenails. Filing rabbit toenails. I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Is that, what did we, I'm sorry, I'm lost. I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm not sure what we were going on there about filing rabbit toenails, but I don't file my rabbit's nails. I don't even mess with trimming them most of the time, unless I get one that's got, like really out of hand, which doesn't happen very often. All right. Hello to Hatch Farms, or Hatch Poultry, I should say, Hatch Poultry Farms. Joy says, I love your show. I live in Oklahoma. I want to ask where you find that 1/2 T PVC that connects to the water cups. I can't find it at Home Depot or Lumber 2. Yeah, I haven't been able to find it in a big box store, but it is in my Amazon shop. So if you go to my Amazon shop, you can order them from Amazon. Just look down through there. It's one of the products I have listed on there. William Chapman says, I could not do it if it was not for your help. Could not do, what are we talking about, William? Oh, you're 100% hatch. Okay. Sorry. You're 100% hatch rate. Well, hey, I'm glad I could help you out a little bit with that, but don't, you take the credit for it. You did it. So good job. Verna, good evening from Southwest Ohio. Good evening to you from Southwest Missouri. Leon says, looking for Black Orpington's show quality. Well, see, somebody recently, where did I see those? I think it was on Craigslist here. I saw somebody that was getting rid of some Black Orpingtons, but I don't know, not sure if they were show quality or not, but they were in, I think, Carthage, Missouri. That's probably a long ways from you, so that may not be that helpful. Excuse me. Linda says, hello. Oh, big hello from Texas. Well, everything's big in Texas. Hello's got to be big too, right? So good evening to you, Linda. Glad you could make it. King Coop 8 says, were you ever thinking or buying some sort of pigeons? We have bunnies and pigeons, and will you ever move to a farm? Well, good question. I can't say I'll never move to a farm. I wouldn't mind having a place that's a little bit outside of town. I call myself slightly redneck because I am, slightly country, but kind of city too. The city I live in is not a great big city. It's a little bit of a smaller town, but it sure is nice to have the conveniences of town. Good internet. The store just a couple of minutes away. If I need to go shopping or any of those kinds of things, it's all just right here. I don't have to drive to town, so to speak. And I wouldn't mind having a place just right outside of town. A little bit of acreage, but I don't know that that'll ever happen. Those places are expensive, and they cost quite a bit of money. But who knows? Maybe they will. As far as getting pigeons, I toyed with the idea of getting some pigeons, but I don't think I'll ever. I'm not planning on it right now. I shouldn't say never. Right now, I'm not necessarily planning on it. So who knows? I'm thinking about doing some meat chickens in the spring though. So I'll make sure I do a video on that if I do. Not sure if I'll get that done or not. I'd have to build a tractor for them, but who knows? Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we won't. All right, William Chapman says, how's the Jumbo Pharaohs at Hatch Poultry Farm? Well, I think they are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they are all James Murray bloodlines. So they're going to be Jumbo Pharaohs, just like you get Jumbo Pharaohs from anybody else that has James Murray bloodline. So in other words, they're fantastic. Jumbo Pharaohs are probably my favorite. I have Jumbo Pharaohs and Jumbo Meat Makers right now. Not a huge difference between the two, but I do seem to get a little bit better results as far as hatch rates and just easier to take care of, and just a little bit better with the Jumbo Pharaohs versus the Jumbo Meat Makers. I do think the Jumbo Meat Makers do get a little bit bigger over time, but honestly, at like 8 to 12 weeks where you're usually butchering them, there's not a big difference between the two. But I like the Jumbo Pharaohs just a little bit better. All right, Robert Slot says, Chris, I have 6 does and 2 bucks. The does are 6 months old and they will not breed. The bucks will fall off. My buck is 11 months old. Robert in Southeast Texas. Okay, so you've got 6 bows, 2 bucks. The does are 6 months old and they will not breed. The bucks will fall off. Okay, I'm a little bit confused by that, Robert, because if you're putting the doe in with the buck and the buck mounts and falls off, that means they're breeding. So the does are breeding. So I don't know. I'm not sure if maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. If it is a problem with the does not breeding, like they run around the cage, they hunker down in the corner, they don't let the buck mount, they won't lift for him, any of those kinds of things, well, that's pretty common. It's probably the most common thing. We talk about it all the time. Almost every live broadcast, somebody has that problem we discuss. And my biggest advice is, just try over and over again. I've actually got a video on that. What to do if your rabbit doesn't want to breed, I think, or what to do with a reluctant doe. I'm not sure what I named. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I posted that video. But, you can go back and watch that video. I go into a little bit more detail on it than I can in the live broadcast because I don't want to just spend 30 minutes talking about it on here. You got to get to other people. But the biggest thing is whenever you have breeding problems with does, it almost is always the doe that's the reluctant one. And what I find is just try over and over again. Try in the morning, give her 10, 15 minutes. Try again at night, give her 10, 15 minutes. Try again the next morning, 10, 15 minutes. Again the next evening, again the next morning, again the next evening. Usually 4 or 5 times, something like that. And she'll be a little bit more receptive and she'll lift for the buck and allow him to breed. The other thing, and there's another trick too that I don't know why this would work. Makes no sense to me, but so many people report success with it. There's got to be something to it. If you take that doe, put her in a pet carrier, drive her around the block a couple of times in your car, bring her back, throw her in with the buck, and then she'll be ready to breed. I don't know why that would work, but like I said, hundreds of people, make that recommendation all the time and have claimed success with it. So you might give that a try and see if that helps too. So hopefully that helps out a little bit with that. All right, Armed American Patriot says, stop by to say hello and smash that like button. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hello to you too, by the way. Rabbit Homesteading said, I meant said not side. I meant said not side. I think there's a typo in your correction of your typo. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. I meant I said not side. Yes, the 803 was the same with me when you said that. Anyways, I have an egg assortment of different breeds that hatched almost 2 weeks ago. I'm excited to see what I have. Well, fantastic. Congratulations on that. Um, it's always kind of exciting when you have an assortment of eggs to figure out what hatches. So nice. Lauren says, thank you for your help. Well, you're absolutely welcome. All right, where are we at here? Rebecca says, it will be our second night of below zero wind chill. I slept well with your help convincing me my quail will be just fine. They are doing fine. As you said, thank you. Nice, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking your first winter with birds or animals or any of that kind of stuff and thinking, oh no, what do I have to do to keep them out of the wind, and they're fine. It's no problem. 0 degree wind chill is, we get that all the time. It's when I don't really get nervous until we start getting well into the negatives, and even then, the birds are fine. The hardest part is you just got to keep them watered. You got to take water out to them twice a day. Or that's what I do. I take water in the morning and then again in the evening when the water's below freeze or when the weather's below freezing. Otherwise, that's it. I mean, that's the hardest part. Everything else is just fine. All right. Texas says, what's the cheapest method of housing the rabbits? Well, boy, that's a good question. I think that just kind of depends on what materials you have available to you. The cheapest method would be to find a free cage somewhere online or somewhere, like Craigslist, somebody's getting rid of cages or, something that you can fashion into a cage. I would avoid putting them in an all wood hutch. Rabbits chew on wood. Not a good solution. It also soaks up things like urine and stuff, and it's almost impossible to get clean. So I don't think that's a very good option. Rabbit cages. I build mine out of all wire. I think they cost me somewhere around $25 a cage to build. But you can't just build, if you're just going to build one cage, that doesn't really work that well. Because, you have to buy enough wire. You can't buy wire just exactly enough for one cage. So, if you're going to buy, if you just need one cage, it's probably actually cheaper to go buy a cage than it is to buy wire to try to build your cage. So, hey, look at that. I got a $5 super chat here from Hatch Poultry, and he says, yes, all our lines are from James Marie Farms, and we always have some lines that we imported from Canada. Also, we just imported jumbos to Ireland. Awesome. I saw your email on that one, so I hadn't responded to you yet on that. But yeah, I was working with somebody in Ireland trying to get new bloodlines into Ireland. So if you're in Ireland, Hatch Poultry Farms has got your back. They're looking to get some new bloodlines there. All right. So anyway, Texas 52, I don't know if I answered that with the cheapest way to house rabbits. You could do it in a colony setting. That's not necessarily going to be the cheapest way because you're going to have to probably bury your wire down a little bit. But depending on what you have available, what resources you have, you can find ways to do it pretty cheap. All right, William says, just protect them from the wind and they're good. Yep, I absolutely agree with that. All right, am I talking too loud to you guys? I feel like I'm screaming. Hopefully I'm not. I'm gonna tone it down just a little bit though. I'm drying myself out here. And if you can't hear me, let me know and I'll pick the volume back up a little bit here. I have a tendency to do that sometimes, talk way too loud. All right, where are we at here? Popple Backyard Farm says, we watch in the evenings and enjoy your channel. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Linda says, King Loop, I have 2 Flemish Giants. So there you go. I don't know where you're located, King Loop, but there's an option for some Flemish Giants there. All right, Rabbit Homesteading said, a hint to rabbit people, you can get them cheap after your county fair when the market is flooded. Oh, so getting rabbits cheap after the county fair. That's a good suggestion too. Also, like I said, 4-H clubs, especially like during the end of at the end of the school year or whatever. If you've got seniors that maybe are in 4-H, they've been raising rabbits as part of that, and then they're done. They don't want to do it anymore. They're getting out of it, or they're going on to college or whatever. Those may be good options too. A lot of times they have really good breeding stock. Jimbo, he says, I heard that you might start raising chickens. What breeds? Well, I might do a run of meat chickens is what I would do. It's not necessarily raising chickens full time, but like a run of meat chickens. And I would probably do Cornish cross. That seems to be a really good option for meat chickens. They grow out fast. And anyway, that's my thought. Anyway, we'll see. Jamie says, do you have chickens? And how do you get possible fungus off the chicken comb? I do not have chickens. I don't know. I'm sorry, I got distracted by another comment. No, I don't have chickens right now. As far as fungus on the chicken comb, let's see, what was I going to say? You might try apple cider vinegar, like actually use it as a rub to kind of wash the combs off with. That might help with that. There's another, is it sulfur that treats fungus? I'm trying to remember, but I think that, if you were to go to any kind of farm supply store, they're going to have an antifungal, something to be able to take care of that for you. And that would be the first place I would check. That's probably going to be the easiest way to take care of it. All right. Waylon says, you love it. I'm sorry, Waylon, I'm confused. I'm not sure what we're talking about. I'm not sure what I love, but you're probably right. I probably do. All right, Richard of Danbury from Connecticut, Western Connecticut. Good evening to you. Rabbit Homesteading says, wow, congrats on the 100% hatch rate, William Chapman. I agree. LLJ says, let's see, we place our rabbits on a large piece of lace, pick up the rabbits wrapped inside, and their nails poke out the bottom and are easy to trim or the file. That's a good suggestion there. I didn't think about that. I don't bother, like I said, trimming my rabbit's nails. I don't find it necessary to do. Every great once in a while, I'll get a rabbit that gets just a really long nail, and I'll go ahead and trim that one off, but I usually just hold the rabbit and clip it off, and I'm done. It's not that big of a deal. Kathy says, hello from Canada. Thanks for all your videos. Well, thanks for joining us from Canada, Kathy. LJ says, what would your YouTube name be if you moved to the country? Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. What would it be if I moved to the country? I don't know, maybe fully rednecked? I don't know. No, I wouldn't change it. I'd still be slightly rednecked. Who knows? Lauren says, hope you don't mind me saying again, LOL, I have 11 kits for sale. I don't mind. You guys can, if you got something for sale, you want to, pitch it to the group and anybody's interested, go for it. That's fine. I would say you could do that in the Facebook group, but Facebook really frowns on animal sales. They won't let you do that. So don't go trying to sell animals in the Facebook group. If you got supplies you want to sell in the Facebook group, perfectly okay with me, as long as it's like related, not, don't go trying to sell your Avon or, any of that kind of stuff. It's not the place for that. But you get what I'm saying, hopefully. All right, Lauren says, hope you don't mind me saying again, I have 11 kits for sale, 1 month old. The name is Rex, Harlequin, Flemish, New Zealand, and the sire is a 50-50 Harlequin, New Zealand. Mama has 10 to 13 per litter, great mom. So that's quite a mix of rabbits there. Rex, Harlequin, Flemish Giant, New Zealand Cross, all that mixed in. Probably a pretty good rabbit. So if anybody's looking for them, Lauren, I forget where you're located, so you're going to have to tell everybody that. But there may be an opportunity to get some rabbits if you're looking for them. All right, William says, I went from 80% to 100% hatch rate to 10%. Oh, no. I went from 80 to 100% hatch rate to a 10% hatch rate. My brand new incubator's thermostat was 8 degrees off. Oh my goodness. I was too lazy, trusting to calibrate before the first use. Second incubator is hatching at 22 days. Yeah, hatching at 22 days makes it sound like the temperature's running a little bit low there. Yeah, I would definitely contact the company if their incubator or if the thermostat's that far off. Depending on who it is that makes it, they may stand behind that and just send you a new thermostat for it that's a little bit more accurate, or like you said, calibrate it and you're good. All right. Rabbit Homestead says, hi, Popple Backyard Farms. And Popple says, what's your favorite way to cook a rabbit? Oh boy, that's tough. Oh no, I got another $5 super chat that I did not call out. I didn't even notice that. Rabbit Homesteading says, sorry for my typos. Oh, don't apologize for that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. But you don't have to apologize for typos. Look at my stuff. I make typos all the time. I'm actually incredibly impressed that I got the year right on today, that I made it as 1/16/20 and not 1/16/19. I'm terrible at that stuff. So don't apologize. You're in good company. All right, or maybe I'm in good company, as the way I should say it. All right, favorite way to cook a rabbit. Usually, boy, I don't know. I can't say that I have one absolute favorite way to cook it. It's awful good in a, just throw it in a pressure cooker with some carrots, potatoes, and onions, and maybe some celery, throw it in there with there, and it turns out really good that way. One of my favorite ways that's really easy is those McCormick bag-in seasonings. I don't know, you go to the grocery store and you find it's in the seasoning aisle. Comes in a little box. It's McCormick bag-in seasoning for chicken, and it's got a little bag in there. You're supposed to put the chicken in there with some vegetables, and then you sprinkle the seasoning over it, tie the bag off, and you bake it. Just substitute the rabbit for the chicken, and it's pretty darn good. It's probably one of my favorite ways. But rabbit, I believe, does better slow cooked, braised, or in a crock pot. Always covered with something to it can dry out and be kind of tough if you're not careful. So cooking it slow, cooking it with moisture and covered, all those things help with that. But a pressure cooker is fantastic. Crock pots are pretty good too. You can shred it and make like enchiladas or any of those, like chicken, like you would use shredded chicken basically, and it turns out really good that way too. All right, maybe throw a little chicken stock in with it in the pressure cooker or the crock pot, either one. That'll make it even better. All right, Sherry Spicer says, how do you get bobwhite quails to sit on their eggs? I love your channel, Chris. Thank you. Okay, good question. I'm not a bobwhite expert when it comes to raising bobwhites. I think it's going to be hard in captivity to get them to sit on their own eggs to go broody. It can be done if you give them as much of a natural environment as you can. So my suggestion would be to give them a very large pen on the ground, preferably with lots of cover and things. That's probably going to be the best way to do that. But I don't have the secret magic to get them to go broody. I'm sorry about that. All right, Melissa Green says, hello again, Chris. Thought I would share my excitement with you. I just had my quail eggs delivered from My Shire Farms. My quail journey has begun. Fantastic. Congratulations. Good luck with your hatch. Hope everything goes really well with that. My Shire Farms has some great quality quail eggs, so I'm sure you're going to have really good success with that. All right. Waylon says, you know me now. I probably do, Waylon, but I'm having a hard time placing you. I'm getting a little lost in the conversations. I'm sorry. Marie Scott says, does anyone know how to separate egg whites from the yolks for cooking? Boy, that's tough. I would say very carefully is how you do that. I know how I do chicken eggs, and I just use my hands, but I'm not sure on quail eggs if that would work. Good question. That's tricky. I've never tried. I'll have to try it and then see. I'll have to go back to you and see. All right. Boris, hello to you, Boris. Verna Young says, to Melissa Green, my shire is great. I have my eggs in as well. Second auction I won. One you have quail is, one you have quail is addictive. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you won the auction. You get your My Shire Farm eggs. They're great. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully your hatch is great too. Real Cooking says, crack the egg in half and pour the egg from one half to the other. In seconds, all the white will have gone and you're left with the yolk. Well, that's a trick for chicken eggs too. I've never tried that with quail eggs. If you try to crack a quail egg in half, I'd like to see you do that. I think that's probably darn near impossible to do. But you might be able to take like a serrated knife and cut it in half, easily. And that might work, but who knows? Maybe tricky. Good suggestion, though. Thank you for giving that. Melissa says, to Verna Young, I saw you win. Yes, it was super fun and very addictive. Oh, you're talking about an auction. Okay. So yeah, must have been one I wasn't part of. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about, but I'm glad you had a good time doing it. Sherry says, hi, Chris. Love your channel in Indiana. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Excuse me. Let me get one more drink here. All right. Sherry Spicer says, hi, Chris. Love your... Oh, I already read that one, didn't I? LLJ says, by chance, have you had a chance to look for cage wire that could be ordered under your account? I think what you're talking about is on my Amazon shop page. I am sorry, I have not looked for cage wire to order online because it's just so darn expensive online. Basically it's the shipping charges that get you. And even on Amazon Prime where you get free shipping, they just build the price of the shipping into the product. So it's no different. I have not been able to find a source online that makes a good makes it affordable. It's just so much cheaper to buy it in a local big box store and instead of having it shipped. But I'll try to do that. I'll try to go online, find a good source for it on Amazon, add it to my shop for those of you that are looking to order online. All right, Verna says, okay, talking about, you guys are having your own conversation about auctions. I'll skip that for now. TH55269 says, just hatched from my own birds. Noticed it looks like the colored birds, the SSC, what are those? SSC, silver, I don't remember. And tuxedos and Rosetta tend to hatch later than the jumbo wilds. Is this normal? They seem to grow slower. Well, growing slower, I think, is normal. They are different breeds of birds, and it does seem like they do grow a little bit slower. As far as hatching later, I've never noticed that before, so I can't really say that that's normal or not. Maybe it is with your birds. Who knows? All right. Papa Backyard Farm says, we use small heated dog bowls, and we put wire around the bowl so they don't get in it. Oh, so you're talking about like... all right, so you're talking about the like watering in the wintertime. You use a heated dog bowl and you put wire around the bowl so they don't get in it. That's a pretty good suggestion. One of the things when I'm watering in the winter, I tend to use, well, I'm using Crocs right now because we're just getting like a day below freezing, then it's been warming up. So I haven't had to really switch over completely. But when I do switch over completely to waterers, I don't have power out there, so I don't use a heated bowl. But I do use like a Tupperware style container with a lid on it, because if you don't use a lid, they will get in the water and they foul it up. I mean, it just gets nasty very, very quickly. Plus, you don't want your birds getting in the water when it's freezing and then get out on the cage wire and freeze to the cage wire, and it could just be bad. So I do like to use a container with a lid on it, and I just cut holes in the side so they can stick their head through and get a drink. But that's a good suggestion on that one too. All right. Based Chad Barska says, Obama's Twitter hacked. I could care less, honestly. I don't follow Obama on Twitter. I don't follow anybody on Twitter, really. I don't care what I don't care that he got hacked. It doesn't matter to me, but thanks for sharing. All right. Redneck Chick says, I have 40 quail and they're 9 days old. It is going to drop to the 30s next week. Should we wait on moving them to the garage? Or can they handle the cold if we put the heater and brooder on them? Let's see, I have 40 quail. They're 9 days old. Yeah, if they're 9 days old, I think the 30s is a little bit too cold for them. So yeah, you're going to probably want to keep them in the brooder, in the garage with a heat lamp on them or something like that for at least another week or so. I like to give them till they're about 3 weeks old when it's going to be in the 30s. So yeah, I would give them just a little bit more time. If you can, by 3 weeks old, they should be able to handle, 50-degree weather if you wean them off that. Don't take them from 100 to 50. Just wean them off that heat just a little bit, over the course of a week. Just try to lower the temperature like 10 degrees every 2 days, something like that. But I don't think I'd plunge them into 30-degree weather at 9 days old. That's a little bit young. They're probably not completely fully feathered out at that point. They probably need just a little bit more time. Hopefully I answered that one for you. All right, King Coupade says, I forgot to tell you that we just recently got a permit for ducks. We're planning to get 4 Peking ducks. Fantastic. And says, go on to say, Kathy, it's so cold up here. Where are you located in Canada? I'm in Alberta, and it's been negative 40 the past 3 days. Let me ask you something, King Coop, because you guys get me with that all the time. You said negative 40, which is, don't get me wrong, is cold either way, but you're talking about Celsius, not Fahrenheit, right? Is it the same? I'm doing conversion here. I don't think it is. I guess negative 40 is negative 40, whether you're talking about Celsius or Fahrenheit. So never mind. Negative 40 is crazy cold. And is that the actual temperature or the wind chill? Because negative 40 is like ridiculous. Too cold. Anyway. Okay, Lauren, who is selling the rabbits, I can't remember, Rex, Harlequin, whatever, mixed rabbit, is located in Indiana. So anybody in Indiana looking for some good quail, some good rabbits, there you go. Lauren's got some. And King Coupe came back and said it was the wind chill is negative 40. Yeah, that's, when you quote temperature, don't quote the wind chill temperature, quote the actual temperature. There's a big difference between it being negative 40 wind chill and negative 40 temperature. But that's just my opinion. I'm not really picking on you for that. You can keep quoting Winchell if you want to. But anyway. All right, Christian Gate fan says, hello from Alabama. Hello to you. Jeremy says, checking in from Asheville, North Carolina. Good evening. Joy says, can you reply to my question? I'm sorry, Joy, did I miss your question? What was it? I don't see it. I'm sorry, Joy, you may have to ask your question again. I don't know what the question was. I got lost. I may have overlooked it. I apologize for that. All right, Christian says, hi, Chris, how you doing? Just started to hatch quail this morning. Well, congratulations on your hatch. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Sherry Spicer, hello from Indiana. Oh, hello to you too. Jeremy Barberine, I think it is. Have you ever fed your quails fodder? I started sprouting corn, and may start wheat and rye seeds too. Trying to get away from store-bought crumble. They put some messed up stuff in there. I don't know if I agree with that. They put some messed up stuff in there. I mean, it depends on the brands, of course, and all those kinds of things. But honestly, I've never fed my birds fodder. You can definitely grow fodder for your animals if you want to. Keep in mind, though, you need to do more than just fodder for quail. Quails are omnivores. They eat not just seeds and grains and vegetables and those things, but they also, a large part of their diet is insects, and they need that kind of animal protein in their diet as well, and calcium requirements and all those things. And I get what you're saying. I get the intent that you're trying to get away from store-bought stuff, but honestly, it's just so much simpler to go with. I mean, those feed mills that's what they get. That's where they make their money, is developing feed that's going to be complete nutrition for your animals. And I honestly trust that a little bit more than I trust myself trying to get get it right with growing fodder and those kinds of things. But hey, do however you want to. I don't think corn's a good fodder for them. You're going to be better off with wheat and rye. I think are going to be probably better, or barley even. But anyway, go for it and see how it goes. All right. Christian says, Chris, I have a problem. Some of my baby quail have wry neck. What could be the problem? Okay, wry neck could be caused by a couple of different things. If you're, especially if you're having a problem with like low temperature in your incubator, and they're hatching out a little bit late, then that can cause some wry neck, some splay legs, those kinds of things. Your babies are it's taking them a little bit longer to develop, so that could be causing the problems with that. It could be a vitamin deficiency, but it's probably not. You can try to treat with vitamin E and thiamine by adding that into their water. Sometimes wry neck will correct itself, but usually not. It's a very difficult thing in my personal experience to get corrected. I have not had good success with that, so I'm afraid I can't give you a whole bunch of advice on it. But chances are, it's probably, my guess would be your temperature in your incubator is a little bit low. It's causing them to develop a little bit slower, and that's causing the problem with wry neck. That would be my guess. Unfortunately, it's probably too late to do much about it. But you can, again, try to treat with, thiamine and vitamin E would be the two vitamins that you would want to add to their water supply to help correct that issue if you can. All right. Joni Deputy says, favorite ways to eat rabbit: smoked with hickory or oak, or segmented and tossed in sauce and served with blue cheese. Boy, both of those sound fantastic. And I'd have to agree with you on that. Smoked rabbit is very, very good. So if you have the ability to smoke it, do it. It's great. All right. Christian Gate fan says, I just got some from my Shire too. Nice. Well, fantastic, guys. Everybody's buying quail eggs. Just remember, if you go to any of my recent videos, the link down below it in the description, there is a link to Hatch Poultry Farms where you can get your eggs 15% off normally, but right now during the contest that we're running, 20% off. So you get a really good discount on them right now. All right, Sherry Spicer says, I have double-maned, that makes more sense, double-maned lion-faced bunnies. They're gorgeous. Thank you for your help, Chris. Love from Indiana. Look me up if anyone wants bunnies. Fantastic. Lionheads are neat little rabbits. Don't fit into my breeding because I'm breeding meat rabbits. They're not a good choice for meat rabbits, but they are pretty cute, pretty cool little rabbits. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll get them. All right, Melissa says there is an egg separator that you can buy. Yeah, there is, but I don't know that would work on quail eggs. It works on chicken eggs, but then again, like I said, for chicken eggs, I just put the egg in my hand and, toss the yolk back and forth, and pretty soon I've got just a yolk and the whites in a bowl. It's easy enough with a chicken egg, but with a quail egg, it's a little bit tricky. I think my favorite, egg separator though is the one that looks like a face and the yolk comes out the nose. It's just the funniest thing ever to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's my grade school humor or something. I don't know. All right, Dave says, hi from the UK. Hello to you, Dave. How are we doing on time here? We got about 20 minutes left here. We're doing good. All right. Joni says, the sucker you use on infants, the sucker you use on, the blue bulb sucker. I know exactly what you're talking about now. To separate the yolk from the white, you can get a brand new one from the store. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. That might work out very, very well. I've actually seen people use water bottles, empty water bottles, and same kind of concept. You squeeze it, stick it over the yolk, and let go, and it sucks the yolk up into the water bottle and leaves the white behind. Again, I don't know that would work with a quail egg, but hey, that's a good suggestion. It's worth trying. All right, Deer Creek. Rabbit Homesteading says hi. Didn't we already say hi? Maybe not. Maybe I got lost. Maybe I got mixed up. Anyway, hi. Deer Creek Homesteading says, Rabbit Homesteading can't wait to check you out. Deer Creek Homesteading says, Rabbit Homesteading can't wait. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm lost here. I don't know if that's like, it almost sounds like we're turning into a dating site or something. I don't know what you mean by check you out. I'm lost in the conversations. All right. GM says, we'll get my next hatch from my shire. I'm in lockdown on my current hatch. I'm making an effort to source from multiple lines as I won't replace my flock for 2+ years as I stop laying. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Keep in mind when you're getting, when you're buying eggs, they're probably coming from multiple different bloodlines anyway. The risk of actually inbreeding those things is pretty low. It's not really a big concern, but yeah, you can definitely do that if you want to. All right, Melissa says, Chris, I absolutely love your quail cages. Hubby will be building several after that auction. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. That design has worked out really, really well for me. I like it. The one thing I don't like about it that I'm going to have to change, I think, is the latches. Those little barrel locks, they worked pretty well for a while, but as the cages are starting to get older, the wood it takes on moisture and dries out quicker than it used to. So what happens is it swells up and it shrinks down, and the barrel locks get misaligned. So I've shown a couple of videos where I've had to fix those. It's starting to happen more and more frequently. So I'm going to change, I think, the type of lock that I'm using to lock those. Also in the wintertime when those freeze, they're really hard to get open. So anyway, I got some ideas. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do, but we'll see. All right. Popple says, for rabbits with water, rabbits and quail both heated water, but quail with the wire. Oh, yeah, you use the heated water bowls for them. That's a good idea. I don't bother with that with rabbits. I give them water. They drink as much as they want. And then I come out in the afternoon, I just pour water on top. If there's ice in the bowl, I just pour water on top of it, and they drink what they want out of it then, and they do just fine. Knock the ice out of it the next day and start all over again. But that's just the way I do it. All right, James Ormsby says, I ordered 110 jumbo white eggs from Hatch. I'm excited. I hope I win 100 more. Well, good luck in the drawing if you're in there, and we'll do that one next week. So next Thursday night, make sure you make it to the live broadcast because we'll do the drawing on the live broadcast. All right, Grace Zhao, I think it is. I'm bad with last names. Sometimes I pronounce them wrong. So if I got it wrong, I'm sorry. But from Australia, hello to you, Grace. Hopefully, I see all kinds of things on the news about the wildfires there in Australia. And I don't know how much of that is real and how much of that is just media hype, but it looks like a pretty bad thing. Hopefully you're doing okay over there. All right. All right, Savage Gaming says, great to see you. Love the quail egg video. Which quail egg video are we talking about? I'm sorry, Savage, I'm a little lost there. I probably, I don't know. I'm lost. I don't know maybe I liked the video. I'm not sure. I watch a lot of videos, and respond to a lot of comments. So I apologize, guys. I know sometimes it's like, we've talked, we've had conversation, but I can't place you. I'll tell you a little secret about me. I'm notoriously bad at remembering people's names. So even if I talk to you in person, like face to face, I'm usually good with faces, but I don't get to see your guys' faces. I just see little icons down there, and that doesn't help me so much. So even if I talk to you in person, I'll probably remember your face, but I won't remember your name. I'm just terrible with names for some reason. I should probably work on that. Probably try to fix that. All right. Hatch Poultry says, Jason Orms, talking to Jason Ormsby, and says, thank you. Good luck in the giveaway. Savage Gaming says, everybody hit the like button. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, James Bishop. Chris, I jumped into the big time, 35 rabbits, 400 quail. Wow, that is big time. That's a lot to take care of, but hey, hopefully it's going well. All right, where are we at here? Jason says, glad to do business with you guys. Talking to Hatch Poultry. Says, get used to seeing my name. So good. I'm glad to hear things are going well there. Sherry says, hello all. Thanks for watching Chris's channels. He's great. I'm selling double-maned lion face bunnies. Gorgeous. Well, thanks so much, Sherry. I appreciate that. So yeah, if anybody's looking for lion, are they called lion face? I thought they were called lion head. But anyway. So anyway, double-maned lion head bunnies for sale. All right. Andy says, is it better to slaughter your rabbits when they are younger or older, or does it make much of a difference? Well, it depends. What you mean by younger or older. Generally, I wait till my rabbits are about 8 to 12 weeks old, somewhere in that range. There's a couple of reasons why you might not want to go any older than about 12 weeks old, especially if you're housing all your babies together, all your grow outs together. At about 12 weeks old, they can start, after that, they can start getting into breeding behavior, even though they're not really, it's not good to breed them at that young. It can happen, and you don't really want that to happen in your grow outs. The other reason why you might not want to let them go much past that is as they get older and become sexually mature, then they get tougher. The meat changes. It is definitely better when they're younger. Hopefully that kind of answers that question for you. But yeah, so to answer your question, I think it is better to do that when they're younger, but not too young, 8 to 12 weeks. The other thing about that too is after about 12 weeks old, the growth rate slows down. So your feed conversion is not that good. I mean, you're feeding them a lot more and not getting as much return on it, if that makes sense. They're not gaining as much by the amount of feed that you're giving them. They grow the fastest from up to about 10 to 12 weeks old is when they're going to grow the absolute fastest. All right. Joy says, can you reply to my question? Joy, I'm sorry, I don't know what your question is. Ask it again, and I will do my best to get an answer for you. All right, Jeremy says, started breeding shrimp for them. Started breeding shrimp for them. What are we breeding shrimp for, Jeremy? Oh, talking about feeding fodder to your quail. Okay, yeah, that might work out pretty well. I've never tried feeding shrimp to quail, but hey, it should work. Let's see. All right. Verna says, to Joy, he's asked you to repeat your question. Yeah, well, I mean, she says type it in caps so you can see it easier. Well, you shouldn't have to do that. I mean, I do try to get every comment. I highlight them as I go down through there so I can kind of keep track. But give me a break. Every once in a while, I skip over one. I'm sorry, I forget that. Or I missed that anyway. Alexander says, thoughts, and is a rooster to 2-hen ratio good enough? Okay, I don't know what you mean by good enough. I think 1 rooster to 2 hens is too many roosters to your hens. I would really encourage you to go to like 4 hens to 1 rooster. If you go much less than that, then the tendency is for the roosters to overbreed your hens. And what you'll end up with is them getting scalped. They'll lose all the feathers on the back of their head. They can even get, they can even start pecking skin away from the back of their head. So they'll end up with injuries on the back of their head. And so I think it's really better to go with like 4 hens. I usually go with 5, 5 hens to 1 rooster. You can get away with 1 rooster, 2 hens, but you may need to watch them pretty close, make sure they're not getting bred too much. All right. ESL MBT says, hello, Chris, good evening. I got a problem with one of my quails. Under her feet, there's like an injury. Do you have any idea what it could be? It could be bumblefoot. That's kind of the go-to when you talk about injuries on the bottom of their feet. Usually bumblefoot is going to be like, what it is it's usually caused because they get some kind of injury, a scratch or a splinter or something like that. Something gets in that wound and then it gets infected. So that's basically what it is. And you'll notice it'll kind of it'll look like a boil or something like that. And what you usually do to treat that is you have to remove whatever's inside there. So cut it open, remove it, squeeze out any kind of nastiness that's in there, clean it up real good, and then just you can soak it in Epsom salt bath for a little while. That'll help soften it up, make it a little bit easier to deal with. Treat it with an antibiotic. Don't use one that has pain reliever in it, but just an antibiotic ointment to promote healing without any infections in it. That's kind of the way you treat bumblefoot. If it's not infected, not swollen, you should be able to kind of tell if it's infected, red, inflamed, swollen, those things. If it's just an injury, just a sore, then just treat it with some antibiotic ointment. Again, don't use one that has pain reliever in it, but just clean it up, treat it with some antibiotic ointment. It should heal up just fine on its own. All right. Jesse Olson says, just picked up a pedigree Rex doe. At pickup, the seller said that she was in a little cage. Oh, she was a little cage aggressive, seemed very timid at the time. Got home and she urinated all over me. What can this mean? Just scared? Yeah, that would be my guess on that one, Jesse. Sorry. It's getting cold outside again, which makes for really dry air. And the more I talk, the more I dry out, and it makes it hard to keep going. But anyway, yeah, that would be my guess too. If she's a little bit cage aggressive and she urinated on you, that sounds like nerves to me. It sounds like she's just a little bit scared. Give her some time, she'll probably calm down. All right, Grace says, two of my birds started to lay eggs. I started small, very happy. My birds were bought from someone else. It's so difficult to make them not stressed. By the way, I give them a bit of cat food. They hate it. They hate the cat food. Did they tell you that? Or they just won't eat it, right? If you're talking about like dry cat food, you might try to crumble it up, like run it through a coffee grinder or something to powder it up so you can mix it in with their feed, and they'll eat it that way. But they're probably not going to eat whole big chunks of cat food. No, not at all. If you're talking about wet cat food, yeah, they're probably not going to eat that. I can't imagine they would like that too much. Weird. Anyway, all right. I don't know what the question was that I answered for Joy. I do remember talking to you earlier. Anyway, we're going to move on from that. Joy, if your question is still not answered, then ask away. I'll do my best to get to it. All right. William says, I have a feed for my chicken that is different types of seeds like black sunflower and like scratch type feed. Do you think it would be good for my quail? It's probably not bad for your quail, but it's not going to be the best option for them on a regular basis. It's not going to have the right mix. What you got for your chicken does sound like scratch feed, which is not really a primary feed. It's more like a treat, like anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's probably not the best option to feed your birds. You can use it, like get you through a pinch until you can get more feed, which reminds me, I got to remember to go buy quail feed this weekend. So I got to do that. But what else was I going on with that? But it's probably not the best feed. You probably want to go with something a little bit more, a turkey starter, game bird starter, something like that. That's going to be a little bit more specific to quail. All right. Jeremy says people breed shrimp as feeder for pet fish. Was gonna do wheat and rye for the quail, both as options in their standard feeder. Well, that works, then do it. Jeremy says they'd have access to the crumble all the time. Doubt I could do the shrimp and sprouts in enough quantity. Oh, and the corn is from my chickens. Okay, well that works. Yeah, that makes sense. You want to do fodder and shrimp and stuff to kind of supplement the regular feed and make that feed go further, so they're eating not completely all just that one feed. That makes sense, and I think you got a good plan there. Hopefully it works. All right. Sherry says, you da bomb. I hope that's a compliment. I think it is, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Grace says, the fire is pretty bad in Australia, but it did not affect Melbourne much, where I live in, and don't worry about my last name. Love your videos. Well, thank you so much, Grace. I appreciate that, and glad to hear that it's not affecting you too much. I know it's bad, but again, if you watch the media, it's like the whole country's on fire, and every animal that lives there is going to die, and I think that's probably exaggerated a little bit to get people to watch, but I don't know how bad it really is. So I hope things are going well there. All right, Melissa says, giveaway with a question mark? Yeah, go check out my video that posted on Monday. We're doing another quail egg giveaway, so you can get entered there. Z Pilgrim says shrimp. Yeah, I think shrimp would be fine to feed quail. I don't see why not. All right. Lazy Pond Farm says hello. Hello to you. And where are we at here? How are we doing on time? We've got about 5 more minutes here. Katie Martinez says, how many quail could you keep in a 6 foot by 5 by 4 foot area? Wait, 6 by 5 by 4 foot area. So I'm assuming it's 6 feet long, 5 foot wide. That would be my guess. I would say, so that would put it at about 30 square feet. You can usually figure about 1 square foot per bird. So, roughly 30. If it's an above ground hutch with a wire bottom, you're not gonna have to worry about droppings, gathering up too bad. So you can pack them a little bit denser. You could probably go with 40, maybe even 45 or so in there and still be pretty comfortable. So hopefully that answered that one for you. All right, Chris Derry Rose Elrod says, good evening from Little Rock. Hey, that's not too far away. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. Oh, Z Pilgrim says, you're a good animal dad. I guess. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Lazy Pond Farm says, here to pick up quail tips. LOL. I only have 7, 1 male and 6 female. Only got 1 egg a day, doing a higher than chicken protein feed game bird. How else can I work to increase egg production? Add light. Light's the biggest factor as to whether they're going to lay or not. So you need to give them about 14 hours a day of light. And right now it's wintertime, so the days are like, I think the days here, let's see, it gets light about 7:30, the light's going down, sun's going down by 6 o'clock, so that's like 11 hours, well, about like 9.5 hours, something like that of daylight. So you're gonna have to extend that daylight by a good, 5-6 hours to get them to lay eggs on a regular basis. 14 hours is the magic number there. And, give them that light, give them about 2 weeks with that amount of light every day, and they'll start laying again. All right, Samurai Falcon says, make sure they aren't stressed and getting at least 14 hours a day of light. Hey, there we go. Samurai Falcon answered it for you. Stress is the other factor on that, and that means just don't move them around a lot. Don't make sure they're not getting pressured by predators or any of those kinds of things. All right, Frank says, how long have you been raising quail, and what's your favorite breed? Let's see, I've been raising quail for 5-6 years now, I think, something like that. My favorite breed is definitely the Jumbo Pharaohs. I think they're absolutely the best ones out there. And that's when I say favorite breed, Jumbo Pharaoh Coturnix quail. I raise Coturnix only. All right, TH55269 says, FYI, I added a wire floor shelf in my coop and put a ramp for the quail to get up on it. They like it. It gives them a place to get away from harassers. I imagine it does. It probably gives them a place to poop on the harassers too when they go underneath the wire shelf. But hopefully that's not a big problem for you on yours, but sounds like a good solution. Jeremy says, thanks, Chris. It's just my little attempt to get some food out of the fish tank in my living room and make the quail meat a little healthier too, hopefully. Well, hopefully that works out for you. When I was telling you earlier, again, my opinion is I don't think it's good to try to feed your birds completely on a natural diet. I'm not picking on you. Try what you're going to try. You'll know whether it's going to work or not. If your birds don't, they quit laying eggs, they start acting sluggish, any of those kinds of things, it's probably the feed. Back it off, go back to more of the feed. But anyway, it sounds like you got a pretty good plan. I think it'll work. All right, Lauren says, one more time for the new people. I have 11 kits for sale, 1 month old. The names are Rex, Harlequin, Flemish, New Zealand, and the sire's 50-50 Harlequin, New Zealand. The mama has 10 to 13 per litter, and she's a great mom, and they're located in Indiana. So if anybody's looking for rabbits. All right, Lazy Pond Farm said, can't talk. Lazy Pond Farm says, if you're in Indiana. Other than that, just look on Craigslist, look at 4-H clubs in your area, county fairs, poultry swaps. Those are usually where you find rabbits. All right, Sherry says, thank you, Chris. Well, you're absolutely welcome. All right. Got to get this wrapped up, go spend some time with the family. It's good always to spend some time with you guys. Thank you guys for joining the live broadcast. I appreciate that. Remember, next Friday, we're going live with the Kickstarter for the solar light. If those of you guys are having problems getting your birds to lay in the wintertime, you need to add light to it. Solar light's a good way to do that. This one is on a timer, programmable, so no power cords. You don't have to get up and turn it on and off. You just set the time you want it to come on, set the time you want it to go off, and leave it alone. And it does it every single day. So it works great. So keep that in mind. Next Friday, Kickstarter goes live for that. Anyway, thanks guys for joining. Everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you guys here next week for the drawing for the 100 free eggs. God bless each and every one of you, and good night.